We're gonna call the September 18th meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Vecula? Here. Mr. Murray? Here. Mr. Miller? Mr. Smith? Here. Mrs. Kiefer?
Here, this time we're gonna do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, is there any board members who desire to add, delete, or separate any items on the consent agenda as proposed? All right, we'll mark that note. So at this time, I just need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting on September 18th, 2023.
Move. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vecula?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the special board meeting and regular board meeting held on August 21st, 2023.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Vecula?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, is there any board members with correspondence? Mr. Carroll. Mr. Small.
I received notice of resignation from Deb Slee as well as Jared Kiefer that we'll act on later in the meeting.
Thank you. We continue recognizing our guests and visitors.
We have a few guests with us today. Thank you for being here. Could you please just introduce yourself. Evergreen Rupert.
Don Spradlin,
Phil Sauer,
Jenny Conrad,
Lucas Brickholder.
Dr. Dolores Weinberg. Gina Blanchard, Jody Frederick,
Isaac Hughes.
Lydia Buckler.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing that no one has registered to address the board, we can continue on with Mr. Carroll's financial reports.
Thank you. A couple of financial documents in front of you. The first one is our cash reconciliation showing that we are balanced with the bank. The second item, the financial summary, is how we are appropriated currently. It also shows how we are encumbered in our balance of those funds. We have our cash summary report. This shows expenditures. It shows the fund balance and current POs for each fund. We have our disbursement summary. These are the checks, electronic and warrant checks that we have issued for the month of August. We have our general fund graph. At this point, we are 17% of the way through the year. And according to the forecast, we are right in line. And broken out, we have payroll and benefits. At this point, we have spent 15% of our payroll budget and 16% of our benefits budget. So again, right in line. The only other thing on my financial agenda here is that we did receive a wellness grant of $2,600. So that'll be appropriated.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Mr. Carroll. Any questions for Mr. Carroll? No? All right, we'll move into the financial consent agenda. At this time, we will need a motion to approve the August 2023 financial reports we just reviewed with Mr. Carroll. Accept the following donations: $100 anonymous donation to the Student Assistance Fund, $1,500 donation from Worthington Industries to the general activity for the middle school. We also need to establish the district in-state tuition rate for 2023-2024 school year at $12,434.65, and the out-of-state tuition rate at $15,739.22, as established by the Ohio Department of Education. We need to approve the following grant for the fiscal year 24 and to modify appropriations and estimated resources accordingly. The NVHP Wellness Grant for $2,600. This time, I just need a motion to approve the financial reports and other financial items.
So moved. Support.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Vecula?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll move on to the personnel. We need to add the following individuals to the approved district substitute list pending the completion of any and all licensure requirements and background checks. Doug Kraus, nurse; Barb Boyer, counselor; Haley Sutton, nurse; Brooke Brown, aide for kitchen; Pat Adamski, teacher. We also need to offer the following supplemental contract for 2023-2024, pending the completion of any and all certifications and our licensure requirements. John Ethelbarger for the EMS Academic Challenge. to offer the following supplemental contracts for 2023-2024 pending the completion of all pupil activity permits for Nicholas Essen for assistant football coach. We also need to offer the following non-teaching one-year limited contract effective August 28th, 2023 for the 23-24 school year. Matt Sager, bus driver, 4-hour route. Matt Sager, bus aide, 2 hours per day. Scott Westbrook, aide, 4 hours per day. And Amy Human, cook, 4 hours per day. We also need to approve Josh Martin for middle school career technical education training compensated for up to 5 hours at the hourly rate for the negotiated agreement. To accept the resignation of Jerry Kiefer, Evergreen High School teacher and coach. Mr. Kiefer's resignation will become effective on May 31st, 2024. Mr. Kiefer's service to our students in school will be missed. To also accept the resignation of Deborah Slee, bus driver, effective October 1st, 2023. To approve the request for FMLA for Andrea Hessen, tentatively beginning on September 29th, 2023, and ending on November 28th, 2023. At this time, I just need a motion to approve the above listed personnel positions.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Beckler?
Yeah.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefer?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we'll move on to other business. We need a motion to approve a calendar adjustment to 2023-2024 school calendar to move the October 20th teacher workday, no school for teachers, to October 6th. This change aligns with the calendar that had been posted on the district website.
So moved. Support.
Question or discussion?
This is just an accidental.
Yeah.
So we're
The
just,
tentative one we approved 2 years out stayed on the website instead of being replaced, and that was the only change made to it from initial approval.
thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefer?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to approve a service agreement with New Horizons Academy in Sarah's Garden to provide educational services for special education students for the 2023-2024 school year at a cost of $16,222 per semester.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefer?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, Mr. Simola, would you like to take over discussion and information?
Yeah, just for informational purposes, our income tax renewal levy is on the ballot for November 7th, 2023.
All right, we will move on to Mr. Burkholder.
Good evening. Evergreen Middle School Board Report. Things I want to highlight for you guys. People's Champ, as we do every month. This month is for Lori Schmidt. I don't know how familiar you are with her. She's only her second year in the district with us, so she's been here for a little over a year. Lori's quickly become a leader in my building, and she goes above and beyond with our kids that need those extra help. And she's that type of special person that she can't go home and sleep if she doesn't actually get help this kids out. So she's been our People's Champ for the month. Back on August 21st, we had our middle school orientation night. It was a pretty good night for us, very busy. We got to introduce our 6th graders to the building, which was successful. We want to do a special thank you to the Fulton County Health Department. They put on our Hidden in Plain Sight exhibit that night, which was really cool for the parents to see. It's very educational for them. And then also thank you to Big C's BBQ. They did a fundraiser for us that night. Also helping that night, MVP, they were helping as well. And they helped the next day even bigger in our building. They provided breakfast for our staff. So that teacher workday, they do that a few times a year for us, and that's a hit in our building. So we are continuing the row house system that we've had. So our first day of school, we did introduce all 85 new 6th graders into the row houses during introduction ceremonies. That was a big hit. And I want to make sure I recognize at this board meeting, we did get a couple donations already for the year for our row system. One of them was already in the board minutes. Worthington made a $1,500 donation to our program, which is up from last year. They made a $1,000 donation, so that's 2 years in a row. And Sky Zone Holland did jump passes for our kids this year. Again, they also upped their ante from the year before, providing enough jump passes to provide all of our first quarter kids with awards. So we appreciate those donations. We did start our Amazing Shake program. We had our first lesson already on the Friday of September 8th. This was a lesson on professional introductions. We're eventually here going to have a practice called an open forum practice, in which all the kids get to participate, meaning not only, buildings or adults in the building, but outsiders are gonna come in and participate as well. This past Friday, we started for the row houses we're gonna call it the T-shirt design off for the year. Last year, if you remember, we did a spirit sign competition. That was pretty big across the district. We're doing a T-shirt design this year, in which the kids are gonna be creating T-shirts to represent their row houses and the character things that we're going over, and seeking out sponsorships to provide the funds needed to make T-shirts. And the last thing I'll mention was, you guys probably remember, we're implementing a no new cell phone policy within our building this year. Good news, it's kind of went off without a hitch, no problems there, and if anything, I've received no less than probably 15 parent contacts praising us for that decision and moving forward with that, so overall, it's been a great move. Any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Burkholder.
Yeah.
Mr. Rupert.
Good evening, I will make it short. I did want to highlight that Evergreen High School, we earned high and ratings in the US News and World Report. I did have an error, I should have proofread it. We're 3,199 in the nation, which is a big number, but when you look across the whole nation, and we're 118th in Ohio, so we did get recognized by US News and World Report. The year got off to a great start. Our first full week of school was last week, and of course it was homecoming week, so it was still crazy. So we are still trying to figure out what a normal week looks like in the high school. But things are starting to settle down. Speaking of homecoming, last week we had competitions. Hopefully, I think Mr. Smolis shared that with you. Building was crazy, busy, kids were involved. They were excited. We had a big assembly on Friday. Working on getting some of those lip sync things out, and that it was exciting and entertaining, I would say. So now we're back to the grind and our first normal full week of school. So
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Rupert. Mrs. Bradlin.
Hello. Transportation coordinator, just want to go over the beginning of the year for the transportation department. We had our spot inspections on August 10th and 11th of the 23-24 school year, and all the 31 buses we have passed their inspections thanks to our mechanic, Jeff Abrams. 21 are currently in use as route buses right now, and 10 are being used as spare buses. The drivers had their professional development day on the 17th of August. I provided everyone with just a little snapshot of what we went over during the meeting. We went over fire drill evacuations, some accident readiness, emergency weather scenarios, and other just general information. We had Gene Wonders come in, who installs all of our van, bus, and school radios, come in and go over some of our laws and the regulations and how to use the radios so that we have to help eliminate some unnecessary usage within our district. We were supposed to start off the year with all 21 drivers this year. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of what happened with that. One driver did not start due to back surgery, so we anticipate her coming back at the end of October. Another driver gave notice 3 days prior to starting her school year. So that's 2 down. Another driver gave gave notice on August 30th. She is not able to finish out the school year due to her aging mother-in-law, so that's 3. And come December, we have another one retiring. So we're gonna be down 4 drivers, and we currently have 2 substitutes. The one that did quit 3 days prior, we did fulfill with 1 sub that we did hire over the summer, got him going, so went from a sub right into a full-time route. I have a new one that's coming in, starting her pre-service classes on the 26th of September. And the other 2 drivers that are kind of permanent subs. One is a full-time sub for our district. She said our district is first and foremost, and the second sub works at the Berkey Farm Center, so he's kind of, we can use him whenever we whenever he's available. Sometimes we get him in the mornings, we can maybe get him in the afternoon, but starting October, once crops are in, we should have him as a full-time, quote unquote, substitute driver. So if anybody has any ideas, I have some that I would like to present to you maybe at the next board meeting. But I just don't have all my ducks in a row to give you other information at this time. But I would like to maybe go over some options for trying to get drivers in. I know Sylvania Schools did bring in, they hired and got 4 drivers already over in summer, and they had 5 applications by the start of the school year, 5 additional. So I think we need to possibly make some changes, and I have some options. I just don't have all the information for everybody as of yet.
Once you get it, can you get it to Eric? Because he emails us every Friday, just so we can all kind of look at it before we talk to you. And then,
Absolutely. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Ms. President, I'm sorry, I was trying to keep track of the additions and subtractions. How many positions, full-time bus drivers do you think we need?
Full-time,
Full-time.
we need 21. I need 21. We have 21 routes. We need
Right,
21.
I mean, how short are we? How many in your?
We are gonna be 3 short.
So we need to hire 3 people.
Yes.
Okay.
I have 1 in the works right now.
Thank you.
any other questions for Mrs. Fredlin? Thank you, Don. All right. Dr. Swineford.
Good evening. It is that time of year again where the Ohio Department of Education has released the district local report cards. I am not going to go into a lot of depth about it, and we'll have information that'll be posted on the district website. New this year, they gave us an overall rating between 1 to 5 with half-star increments. So looking at the district, we received 4 stars, the elementary 4.5, the middle school 3.5, and the high school 4.5 stars. This is comparable to the districts in Fulton County, as well as the 20 comparable districts that Ohio Department of Education establishes for us. One thing that we need to keep in mind though, is that local report card is just a snapshot of what truly goes on in our buildings with the hard work by our students, our families, and our staff that's dedicated to that learning process that occurs every day. With that being said, I did go through and analyze the data itself, looking at the strengths for the district. We improved on the progress component, which is academic progress of groups from year to year. We also improved in gap closing that looks at gifted performance, chronic absenteeism, graduation goals by subgroup, English language proficiency improvement, ELA and math achievement, ELA and math progress. And one positive that we have seen this as an area of weakness to the previous years is our an increase in the gifted performance index and gifted progress and math progress. If I look at the individual buildings, still looking at the strengths, the elementary improved also in the progress component from 2 stars to 3. We saw a significant increase in value added for 4th grade math and 5th grade ELA, and an increase in overall performance index. It went up from a 90 to a 93, and that performance index actually looks at how our students perform on the state assessments, grades 3 through 12, as far as those different proficiency levels. The middle school also improved their performance index from an 83.5 to an 84, and they met the gifted progress. Our high school, again, they also improved on the progress component from 3 to 4 stars, showing significant growth in American history and Algebra 1. And they also saw a decrease in the chronic absenteeism rate from 18.5 down to 15. So that's showing a decrease in the absenteeism. Unfortunately, though, we also have to look at those areas of concern. So as a district, we saw a decrease in the early literacy component. It's measuring that reading improvement and proficiency of students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. It is a 2-year process. So it's looking at data over 2 years. We saw an increase overall as a district in chronic absenteeism. It was very slight from a 12.5 to a 12.9. We also saw a decrease in the 4-year and 5-year graduation rate. It was very slight, but it was still an increase, or excuse me, a decrease. The elementary, again, I mentioned as far as that improving literacy percent, but they also saw an increase in their chronic absenteeism. And it was a significant increase from an 8.7 all the way to 11.6. Middle school saw a decrease in the progress component. Sixth grade and eighth grade math students did not meet state expected growth expectations, and they also saw an increase in the chronic absenteeism from 11.6 to 13. High school, we saw where our students that took the geometry test did not meet expected state growth. And we saw a decrease in that graduation. And I think it's important to talk about that piece in itself. We're looking at 6 students that made our graduation rate decrease. And when we dive in deeper, there were students that were pursuing that GED instead of a typical education. We had students that were also on extended education, so they maybe are students that went off to Fort County and are in that year 13 or year 14. And then we also had a student that did drop out. And so if you think about it, it's just a small number of students, but since we are a small district and have small graduation cohorts, it has a significant impact. So knowing that, what are we doing to help increase our data on the state report card? We have implemented a diagnostic assessment district-wide, iReady in math and reading. That's going to give us some data to analyze and dive in deeper. We have implemented a multi-tiered system of support district-wide, purchased a new math curriculum, K-12, where we are now providing gifted services in grades 3 through 8, in addition to the high school and AP and CCP courses. We are providing professional development, continuing with math and reading at the middle school level through the ESC, the Educational Service Center. Our focus this year as a district on professional development is student supports. We had that with our September 1st PD day, and we will continue to do that for February. I think the other thing too that we have to keep in mind that, even though this is just a snapshot, we really need to, continue to look at, as we always do, the processes that we have in place in all areas. Combing through that data, having those tough conversations about data and stuff, but that's all that I have. Any questions that you might have?
Are we looking into any kind of, I don't wanna say, like trade, anything for the trades to get into the school? I mean, I'm all happy with the gifted and the CCP and that,
Absolutely.
but as far as like some kind of classes or courses for the kids that aren't gonna go to college, but are pursuing trades.
Correct. So we actually have the manufacturing future of Fulton County class that focuses on manufacturing. We also have students that are taking the Rise Up program in customer service and retail. I've been working with Alexis Howell, our ag teacher, as far as how we can get more involved as well. One thing that the state has with the budget bill was that our guidance counselors in 6 through 12 have to have professional development or training focusing on that the construction area to really pursue the students in that route as well. A couple of other things that I'm looking at too, there is a free drone curriculum out there to then entice our students into learning, getting their personal drone license that I know is often used in agriculture.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Additional questions?
I just have one additional one. I know this is maybe more broad. Some of these issues, the absenteeism, some of the progress stuff, and maybe even the decrease in the graduation rates, you can tie some of that back to the whole coming out of COVID learning loss,
Absolutely.
right? Do we have anything in terms of analysis from a state level that gives us a sense of quantifying what that loss level is, either at a state level or at a local level?
So not at the local level, at the state level, they have been sending information out. I can definitely send that to you. I don't have that with me.
No, please do. Yeah, I'd be interested to see it. Thank you. I know.
Thank you, Dr. Steinford. Mr. Samoa.
Yeah, a few things to share with the board. We made it through a difficult day at school today with the passing of one of our beloved students, Brody Miller. I'd like to thank Swanton, Pikeville, York, and Fayette schools for sending counselors and sports counselors to support our students and staff. I would also like to thank the pastoral staff of North Clinton Church in Waseon and Trinity Lutheran Comfort Dogs Ministry for sending staff and dogs to support us. We continue to keep the Miller family in our thoughts and prayers. The Raptor Visitor Management System is in place to screen our visitors as they enter the building. The 911 Inform system has yet to go fully operational. We are waiting on assistance from DataServe, our phone service provider at this point, for connectivity. We should have the system online in the next week or two. Vape detectors are installed and ready to go. There's a programming issue that Johnson Controls needs to come back out to help us with to get them programmed correctly. We're in the process of planning our annual Veterans Day program. The program will be held on Friday, November 10th at 9 a.m. We will send community invitations out next month. And finally, Mr. Blanchong's government class is planning a Meet the Candidates night for the November school board election. This event will take place in the high school gymnasium on November 1st at 7 p.m. Any questions?
All right, no questions for Mr. Small. Is there any board members with questions or concerns overall? No? All right, then I just need a motion to adjourn the September 18th, 2023 regular meeting of the Evergreen Local Board of Education.
So moved. Support.
Roll call?
Dracula?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mrs. Seaver?
Yes, motion carries. Any high school students, Mr. Blanchon, can have paper, you can give to Mr. Samoa. Otherwise, we'll see everybody October 16th.